the first thing I was going to ask you about is, now that you have all the accolades and all this stuff and the big money and everything now, I'm really interested to see if you remember your first moment of, this is when I really want to do songwriting, music production. Was there a moment that you kind of think back on now after everything?
I think it really kind of connected with me once. I'm the seventh of eight. The brother right above me, Alonzo, he went to, all of us went to LaGrange, but he went to LaGrange as well, music major. And just kind of grown up in a musical house, had a family band. And when I was younger, just trying to figure out my place and everything. Yeah. And I started writing songs first, but it wasn't until around high school, late middle school, high school, when he came to college and he was making tracks to my songs. And he left. So he was like, listen, I'll show you how to do some programming in the motif. And that's kind of where it's like, okay, I think I found my niche. Yeah. Because I was like, dabbling in art and design and stuff like that while I was writing songs. But it was then I was like, all right, cool, this is
my era. Yeah, right here. This is the moment. Yeah. So it comes out of having to kind of figure it out yourself.
Yeah,
your brother
basically,
leaving, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, again, having those influences, like, the older siblings and doing it and just trying to not compete in that way, but just like trying to keep up. Yeah.
Exactly.
And kind of also carve out my own lane for myself. And so when he introduced me to that aspect of it, it just started really clicking for me, what I really wanted to do.
Yeah. Man.
Late bloomer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You done well for late bloomer. With that that decision and stuff, was your family supportive of music?
Yeah.
And you kind of pursuing that career at all?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, obviously, my parents, they were the first ones in their family to get a college education, my mom and dad, actually. And so they really pushed education in the house. They did kind of give us, as long as we went to a liberal arts college, they didn't really care what we majored in or anything. So, I mean, as far as music, I don't know. They're older, right? So it's like to have a career in making music, it's like,
a little different.
It's like, what is that really? You're like, are you going to teach with that?
Yeah.
Which I do now, part of what I do. But it was just kind of a weird space. They didn't really pull back from it. But it's like, we don't really understand what you're gonna do with it.
What the vibe is.
What the vibe is, right. Because my dad come from there, you get discovered. That's his thing. You get discovered, So just the concept of building out a career in creating music was kind of a foreign concept within the confines of, what they were exposed to and their understanding of, how to be a progressive, person in society. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, shouts out to the family for being supportive.
Yeah.
With that, was your decision to pursue songwriting and do that as a career, and the family kind of supporting you?
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, was there like you try to find more outlets for outside of the family band and stuff to kind of learn more about music, to kind of get involved in the community music-wise? Did you kind of look for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that happened really here at LaGrange.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously I grew up in the church, right? So exposed to a lot of gospel music, black gospel music. Then I'm from Manchester. So my parents are like not only educators, but also pastors and stuff. So the only Christian, 24/7 Christian radio station they had was Christian contemporary music. So I kind of got exposed to like pop Christian music and black gospel growing up my whole life. So I had those two worlds. Yeah. So I didn't really start getting into secular music like hip hop and R&B until like middle school and high school. But when I got to campus, it's just like, being able to collaborate with people with different musical backgrounds, different musical tastes, taking some other courses, getting exposed to classical music, more and kind of just like being able to like just dive head first into everything. So like I remember I had a colleague or a peer at that time, Mary Hannah, who was like a folk artist. And so we So we went on this whole like, I think we called it psychedelic folk hop thing, where we just like created like this weird album colliding both of our worlds.
Yeah.
That was fun. So that was really exciting. I played it in the jazz combo for 3 years.
Oh man, yeah.
4 years actually. I think I played all 4 years. Maybe it was, I don't remember. But I played it in jazz combo as well. Took Latin percussion.
Oh yeah.
That was offered. Took classical voice, concert choir. So I really just wanted to kind of like expose my palette to different things outside of the comfort zone of what I would gravitate towards. And that's really helped me a lot along the way as well. Yeah.
So thinking back to the Grange, you've had a great experience here.
Yeah.
Do you have any super fond memories or things that you look back and laugh on, or just some great memories from the Grange, especially in the music department? But any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really important moment. I think this is probably one of the most pivotal moments. Two, I give you two moments. One was, I was struggling with biology.
Oh man.
And
likewise, yeah.
I was struggling with biology, and the first time I took music theory, I was like, okay, because I was undecided. I'll give you context.
Yeah.
So I did music, but I wanted to go into more of the business thing. I was considering majoring in business, and it's like, I'll take a few music classes and just see. I really didn't have a strong background in music theory at all, because we grew up playing in church and
play by ear.
Yeah, play by ear. Like Alonzo was probably the first one who really. I had an older brother who Antipas. He was the first.
Okay.
And I found it. He majored in theology and New Testament studies and music.
Nice.
But Alonzo was like he just locked in. Theory just really locked in. So, but I was just like trying to figure it out. So took a theory course and then biology I was struggling in, and my parents came up and was like, all right, we gotta
figure something out.
figure out what you're doing. So Lee was my advisor. Lee was my advisor at the time. And so they sat with him, being loving parents, all concerned. And they were like, listen, like talk to us, help us.
Yeah.
And Lee was just like, nah, y'all don't understand. Like there's something special, with this guy.
Yeah.
And that was a pivotal moment for me, to see someone see something in me that I had not necessarily seen in myself yet. Even though I had aspirations to become at that point, like I want to be a producer, blah, 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 for someone else to kind of affirm that within me and see it, that was a very pivotal moment for me creatively. And I mean that my parents just like, all right, cool. Like, if you say so, like he's like, we'll figure it out.
We'll deal with it then.
Right, we'll figure it out. But that was a really important moment for me. And another important moment, which I talk about this moment, like to all my classes, clients, everything. Dr. Turner.
Oh man, yeah.
When I took music theory, I think it was music theory 1. I took music theory 1, and he had you compose and recording part of it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was like, man, I killed the score. I felt so great, killed the score, had a dope recording, and I came, and this is in CB, the recital hall in CB.
Yeah.
And so I printed my CD as a data CD and not an audio CD.
Oh.
So I go in, I'm like feeling myself, I pop it in, it's not playing back. I'm freaking out. And he's just sitting there looking.
Yeah, he's a serious guy.
Very matter-of-fact manner. He was like, right. He was like, listen, in life, sometimes you only have one chance. And so I'm going to drop your letter grade. Even though your score looks great, I'll let you go upstairs and print your CD, and hopefully you can come back and play it. So I ran upstairs, and he was like, always check your stuff before your presentation, right? So that taught me a very valuable, like when I tell you that story, haunts me to this day. Like when I go in meetings and stuff, I'm always there like, hey, where's the aux? Where's the blah, blah, blah? I want to check it out before we press play. So that really, small lesson, but it cost me a letter grade on that project. And I never forgot that. Yeah. And I got to tell him that before he passed.
Yeah,
so
make you rest.
Yeah.
Man, Charlie. He I had a similar situation, and he means business, and it pays off. It really does. It makes you a better person, way better, way more prepared.
Yeah.
super appreciative of that.
We play a lot of pranks on Dr. Turner.
Yeah, I
too,
bet.
which is funny. Really fun. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
So he had this sign in the old computer lab that says absolutely no drinking and absolutely no drinks or food in the lab.
Yeah.
And so and I had a friend of mine, Rachel. She would always have something, and he was like, "Get out, get out, get out." So one day we were like, "Yo, we should change his sign." So we print up a sign, same font, same everything. And it says absolutely food and drink in the lab. So we all come up. We were like, all right, cool. When he start lecturing, we're just going to like pull out like all these snacks and stuff.
Throw them on the table.
Right. So as soon as he started, we go, and he's turning red. And he's like, you guys can't read. It says absolutely drinks it. You rotten kids, you know. So that was a fun memory. And then he let us do our thing that class, but yeah, we had to change his sign.
Yeah, right after that. Yeah,
but that was fun. He was a good sport.
He had a good sense of humor, man. He had a good one. So having those great memories of LaGrange, you graduated, absolutely.
Yep.
And you left here. So what is your time after LaGrange like? What did you do kind of when you left here?
Yeah, I went straight to grad school.
Man, okay.
Went straight to grad school. I only applied. Maybe not the wisest thing.
All right,
but I did it.
Yeah.
I only applied to NYU. They had an MTech program, and I was trying to figure out a location where I can kind of start tapping into the industry. So I looked at LA and New York. At the time, like you had the business really was ran out of New York, so you had the big labels out of there, and it was on the East Coast still. Easier to get back home. Because I ain't know anybody in New York.
That's fair, yeah.
So, yeah, I applied to NYU, was fortunate enough to get in, and, like, that grind began. Just trying to figure out what was going on, who should I know, learn the city. Again, I didn't have any family or friends, anybody in New York at the time.
So you're on your own.
I was on my own. But it was great. You know, if I hadn't grown up yet, I grew up then. You know, because you gotta be wise. You gotta be watchful, not paranoid, but like, you know, being aware of your surroundings. And then I started applying for internships. Didn't land anything through the NYU portal, so I went to Craigslist. And then sent out about 50, 100 applications, and heard from a few places. And landed in a spot where it kind of launched my career, MBK Entertainment. So, I don't know if that answered.
It does, yes, so
I could give you that long story, too. But
you're at NYU, you're getting an internship, MBK, and done that stuff. I know you said you're on your own in New York. Did you come across anybody that kind of turned into a mentor that kind of was like, here's how the game works a little bit?
I mean, once I landed an internship, so a guy by the name of G Flowers was at the time head of A&R at MBK, and it was a management production company. And when we met, we just hit it off. He was from Virginia. I'm from the South. He's left-handed. I'm left-handed. He was a Virgo. I'm a Virgo.
Meant to be,
his brothers do music. I did music. His brothers did music, and my brothers did music. So he was a little bit older. I'd been in the game for a while. And so he kind of took me under his wings. He was like my first manager figure and kind of helped maneuver me through the MBK, even though I was putting change in meters and cleaning bathrooms and setting up sessions. All that stuff, all the fun stuff. But it allowed me to kind of be in the room with some interesting people at the same time, like producers who were on the rise, who like months later exploded, like Alex the Kid. If you're not familiar with them, Imagine Dragons, Love the Way You Lie, Ex-Ambassadors. Ex-Ambassadors signed to his label. Imagine Dragons signed to his label. He did a lot of big songs for Rihanna, and like dude's just into the tech world, crazy. So I met him, and to this day, we're really good friends. And I met him. He had a session with someone. I was interning.
Yeah.
And he was like, his career just started, and I'll never forget the conversation. I got to speak with him a little bit, and he was like, yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, I got this. He's from London, so I'm not going to do it bad.
Yeah. The British accent.
The British accent.
Shout out to our British friends.
All right. But he was like, yeah, man, I got this record. I thought Rihanna was going to get it, but I don't think it's happening, blah, 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 da, 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 da. I was really hoping that happened, but it doesn't look like it's happening. And Eminem ended up cutting it and putting Rihanna on that record. Anyway. And that was Love the Way You Lie.
Man.
And after that, it's just like,
yeah.
And then we lost, we would talk a good, then we lost contact for a few years.
Yeah.
And then he did a session with her, and he was asking like, who you work with, whatever. She told him me, and I came to the session, and he was like,
there it is. We
bro,
back at it.
You know? And yeah, we've been really tight ever since then again. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how I got on that story, but the internship.
Yeah, the internship. Yeah. So at that internship.
Keep me in line.
Yeah.
Man. Keep me in line.
At that internship too, I feel like every producer or songwriter has the story of like, a dude couldn't show up. I had to run the session. Do you have any stories like that where you had to step in and do anything like that?
Absolutely. Engineer did not show up. And to this day, I don't know what happened. I remember his name, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But for whatever reason, he just didn't show up. And so G called me and was like, yo, do you know how to run Logic? Because they were doing like a production studio where it's like production and audio. So that Pro Tools and Logic, but I think the artist like recording in Logic for whatever reason. He was like, now this time, like Logic was a newer DAW.
So they probably like freshly bought out or something like that.
Yeah. So it was the iteration after 7. So I think it was like, what was it? Imagine. When it was
is it not eMagic or
eMagic?
Yeah.
So it was eMagic 7, Logic 7, then Logic 7.9 or 8 or something like. So it was the version right after that. And so they was like, man, we don't know a lot of people who can do it. Can you run it? I was like, well, that happened to be my DAW of choice.
Don't mind if I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I stepped in, and that day, Alicia Keys' musical director at the time, R&B Gill, was producing the gospel act they had.
Oh, man, yeah.
And we just vibed, and he's like, yeah, I want him at all my sessions.
Man.
And so that's how I kind of transitioned from not only cleaning bathrooms, but also doing some sessions and cleaning bathrooms.
Life don't get much better.
Right. Get to smell some toilets and press record, right? But yeah, so that kind of started that, and then that led to me writing their manager. I came to the CEO's brother, Conrad, came to the studio early one day, and we started talking, and he asked me about my background, and he's like, I'm looking for a CCM type song for my group. And we was just in conversation, and he was like, but you wouldn't know anything about that. You know, he kind of like, that's his personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, actually, I wrote a couple of things for my chapel band back home. And he was like, really? So I sang him, I was telling the small group earlier, I sang him a chorus of the song that I wrote for the chapel band. I couldn't remember the verses, though.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yeah, you know, I'd love you to demo it and play it for me tomorrow. So I hit my boy. He was still here. And I'm like, can you go to Henry Computer Lab and see? I give you my login information. Can you find the lyrics? He couldn't find the lyrics. I had the chaplain, Quincy. It was like, you got it in the songbook. He was like,
be somewhere.
Yeah, he was like, it was the weirdest thing. The song just kind of disappeared.
Man.
And so I ran home and rewrote the verses and demoed it in my dorm, and came back the next day, played for him. He loved it. The band demoed it. And then that led to me start writing and producing more for the band, and eventually executive producing their debut project. And it debuted #1 on Billboard.
Yeah,
and we had I think it was like 3 or 4 top 20 singles off the gospel singles off that. So that was kind of the genesis of that iteration of my career.
Yeah.
So
you seem to have made a really smooth transition working in the contemporary Christian gospel world to also working in like R&B and hip hop. How did you kind of like? Because I mean, it happens, of course, but like I feel like the switch is kind of interesting to me. How did you?
It really goes back to broadening your palette of music and really understanding sonically what's happening, right? And I've always been of the progressive thought, even when I do like Christian and gospel music, to try to push sonically the genre forward.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no differentiation in the sound quality of the two. It's really just context and content. So even if you think about like the earlier iterations of gospel, it was popular music of the time combined with more of a inspirational context, right? So, the birth of traditional gospel is jazz and blues combined. So it's kind of that same concept. Or you think about soul music as gospel and R&B, you know?
That's true.
So funk, gospel, rhythm and blues, and blue R&B and soul is funk.
It go across
for
the
me.
board.
Yeah, so for me, it's not even a necessarily a real transition.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
It's just more so. What am I talking about? Is it secular or sacred content?
Yeah. We talk about Jesus,
right?
or not. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So for me, the soul of it is really about the soul of it and the quality of sound. So. And also the relationship. So even when I did that particular gospel album, it was very progressive in sound, and that same kind of methodology I applied to no matter what genre of music I'm doing.
No matter what. So having that outlook on sound and like sound designing, how did you? This is kind of a double question. I'll ask the second part in a second, but how did you come up with kind of your sound? That you did you kind of like take it from some influences in the past, or you just kind of, how did that come about?
Yeah, a little bit combination of both. It's also like, so again, going to my brothers, though, I mean, when I say Keys.
Yeah, because he was playing on I saw the H.E.R. Tiny Desk.
Yeah, he's our MD.
Yeah. Wow. So he does this for real.
So, he's legit. I got him his gig, but
Get me some. I hooked him up, man.
I want my percentage, man. But I mean, he's a prolific pianist, organist. He started on drums,
man,
and like so. I had to say that. So I play keys. But I never say I'm a pianist or keyboardist because of him.
Yeah.
So that helped shape my sound.
Yeah.
So, but I was a songwriter, so melody I was quite natural. So a lot of my production is like melodic driven with harmony kind of comping around it. But I'm a drummer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
rhythmic feel,
right. So everything is about like rhythm and drum, and because I don't want to call myself a keyboardist.
Yeah.
So I'm very intentional.
Yeah,
about,
we glide.
Exactly. So that helped shape my sound because I respect that. I mean, and then there are colleagues of mine say, bro, like seriously, like just say you play keys, right? But I'm just like, no, you don't understand. Yeah. You don't understand.
You gotta see my brother.
Right. Like he play keys.
Yeah.
I write songs. So that kind of helped shape. And then producers who I gravitated towards kind of felt that same energy, like Timbaland and Pharrell.
Yeah.
Even though Teddy plays but his production a little bit different. Also inspired by Quincy Jones. I listen to Off the Wall at least, once a week. Man. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, those are the people who I kind of look up to, and I got to meet and talk often with one of those guys who are on my Mount Rushmore producer, and it's been amazing. Like I'm still a fan of music, so it's like Jason Joshua, mixing engineer, introduced me to Timbaland.
Oh man.
And dude, like
bro.
just the conversation. And I don't care, I'm not I don't fan out.
Yeah, don't fangirl out like that.
I don't fangirl out about nothing. But my wife knows Timbaland is one of those guys.
Yeah.
So when he was FaceTiming me, I'm just like,
this is real. Someone take a picture.
Right. Right. And I'm like, what's good, man? So,
Man.
But those are like the guys who I kind of look up to, what they've done, that sound. They really pushed the boundaries to me of popular music.
Yeah.
And Max Martin just fundamentally as a songwriter, but as a pop songwriter, but Pharrell, Tim, Quincy, Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having found your own sound and everything, and you got some great influences that you pull in from. When you're, this is now like the process I'm kind of interested in. When you're working with an artist, how are you crafting a sound that works for that artist?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's difficult to really match it with whatever they got going on.
You know what? I learned to be a really good listener. And I think as a producer, outside of like having your own carbon print, is understanding that you are at service to the art and the artist you're working with. So for me, I always listen first and create after. So if I have the opportunity to sit with an artist like H.E.R or whatever, it's like, okay, what's going on in life? What's inspiring you? What are you listening to? And we have these in-depth conversations. I remember vividly the first session I had with Kehlani, we probably talked for almost 2 hours.
Man.
And by the end of the conversation, the song was written. You know, so it was like, what's going on in your life? Yeah, what's going on in your life? Blah, 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 blah. And she felt, it's creating an environment where artists can feel comfortable.
Yeah, just feel open. Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll play chords or play around with sounds while we're having conversations and kind of studying and reading body movement or, you know, sometimes you put on a sound in there in mid-conversation, they'll be like,
it's kind of hard right there.
Okay, cool. We'll stay with that sound.
Lay that down, Write that down,
Right. So, you know, for me, it's just really like creating an environment that really pulls out inspiration from the artist. So that's how I kind of create. And sometimes I sit with the artist and from that conversation, they may not know where they're trying to go, but they're influenced by all these things. So in listening, I can say, all right, listening what you're saying, check this idea out. What if we did this, like with Kehlani, for example? She was telling me about her background from the Bay, how she loved R&B, loved hip hop, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, what if we made like really hard hitting R&B?
Yeah.
And at this time, this is like pre-trap soul, the first project. So it was kind of like I always jokingly say like I'm one of the one of the pillars in trap soul because that project was pre-Tiller. And if you go back and listen to Cloud 19, you can kind of hear the influence of that project on what he did. And then we came back with her stuff, which is kind of a
similar kind.
Offshoot of that. So, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you did.
Have to keep me on track.
Yeah, man. you answered it. You're on the money with it. I'm not gonna lie to you. So you're responsible for H.E.R's big album, the Grammy win. Responsible for
Was a collaborator.
Yeah. Kehlani's breakout work as well.
Yeah.
And you've spoken about being an executive producer as well. I'm interested in what kind of things are you doing as an executive producer for an album like H.E.R's Grammy-winning album?
Yeah, so I mean, there are many roles. Obviously, you create and co-write with the artist, but it's also objectively looking at what the project needs and identifying other creative people who can help nurture that and provide the best music and inspiration for it. So it's a selfless job in a sense too. Like sometimes you have the vibe and sometimes you don't, right? And you have to be willing enough to be servant to what you're trying to accomplish and bring in the right people. So I brought in DJ Camper. I brought in D Mao, who wasn't on the first project but came back.
Yeah, the second time around.
Yeah, second time around. Different co-writers, Umbre. I found her on SoundCloud and was like, oh, you got to come to New York. So as an executive, it's kind of like, all right, once you've established that trust with the artist and what you're collectively trying to accomplish, it's like, all right, okay, now I have to move outside of myself. Or sometimes is getting the vibe. It's more curating the vibe, though. And sometimes that's establishing one or two songs and being like, okay, this is what we're trying to build. All right, I love what you're doing. I think you can enhance this. You're dope. We should bring you in. Okay, engineers, blah, blah, blah. Sitting with the mix, helping with the with the arrangement of the project. All that stuff is important. So it's not monolithic.
Yeah.
You know, at all.
A lot of hats. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta wear different hats too. And I also help with the creative rollout of it, the packaging, how
that marketing aspect.
Yeah, marketing
as well.
aspect.
Yeah.
Every executive don't.
Yeah.
But I just happened to be able to help with that at that time. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the marketing aspect too, because I remember when she was coming out, I think it was a big deal that no one kind of knew.
Yeah.
No one kind of knew her name.
Yeah.
She wasn't really showing her face like that. So what kind of decision making went behind that?
So it's really crazy. So she's pretty much a prodigy, right? So, and she got signed at like 12 and
insane.
was working on a project forever, felt like. And they had her working with all the biggest artists, all the biggest producers and writers in the game, and nothing was really clicking. So her manager came to me and was like, I just want to put a project together. And at the time, he was develop another project that at the time had more momentum.
Yeah.
So he was like, listen, I'll make you EP of it. Just like help me put a little project together. So the idea came, again, being a good listener, she and I was talking, and she was talking about different things she was experiencing in high school at the time, and we wrote a song called H.E.R.
Interesting.
And the concept was she was like the other girl next door. So she wasn't the girl next door. She was the other girl next door. And she was saying like she wished she was her.
Man.
And so that kind of spawned into like a deeper conversation and how we all wish that we were something or someone else at some point, or like we look up to things, or we look at what appears to be better than what we're doing. It's like, man, I wish I had that. I wish I was doing that. I was like, that's a universal feeling. Like it's not just an isolated.
Yeah, it's not just you.
Right, it's not just you. So I was like, man, we could really use this and like kind of build out this. So the initial idea went from the other girl next door to writing the song to naming just a project H.E.R.
Yeah.
Right? And so just using that pronoun just to like everybody, it's an inclusive thing, right?
Exactly.
And so it's like we use the silhouette, anybody can just put themselves in the silhouette, right? And so she was like, oh, I love it. Went to the label, they loved it, and they was like, well, why don't we just don't put a name on it.
Yeah.
Right, at all.
Just leave it, yeah.
And so then we had this is like super behind the curtains. Had a big conversation, and everybody's like, well, the movie H.E.R. just came out. Like it's gonna be hard to Google, it's gonna be this, blah, blah, blah. So my position was, well, if they Google H.E.R.'s music,
here it is.
They're gonna find it, A. B, what if we made it stand for something deeper than just H.E.R.?
Yeah.
And so from that birth, having everything revealed, which is the irony of it, because it's like, well, the person is concealed, but the emotion is revealed.
Man.
So that was kind of the marketing idea. And it was like, okay, cool. Everyone's like, cool with that. And so, so that was kind of the birth of that.
Sheesh, man. Okay. There's a lot of thought. A lot of process went into that. So talking about executive production, talking about marketing, we just spoke about. You have your own, is it production company?
Yep,
is it
production
Progressive Music? So I'm interested in what made you kind of wanted to start your own production company? What are some of the things that you have to do with that and all that stuff?
So I always wanted to kind of, the vision, again, studying like the Dre's and the Pharrells and the Teddy Rileys and Quincy Jones. I always wanted to kind of have verticals from once I got into the game. I want to sign other producers. I want to have other writers. I want to have artists. So the production company is that leg of what I'm doing, right?
Okay.
And so through that, I've mentored a lot of producers and a lot of writers. I've now signing writers and producers to that entity. And so that's pretty much but I gravitate towards disruptors and like people who kind of color outside the line, like the Ubers.
Yeah, that cookie cutter. Yeah,
exactly.
That type of energy,
So that's kind of that. And so I have a few artists that are in development now with that. And I've also just started like a label
Oh, nice.
offshoot from that, which probably come sooner than later. Water to Wine.
All right now.
So that's
Amen,
coming.
praise God.
There we go.
Okay.
Come from the script, biblical, obviously.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so that whole idea of progression and changing things that seem or feel ordinary.
Yeah.
But you kind of see the extraordinary or the potential in it. And it's kind of a nod to, if I can tie it all back in, to when Lee saw the wine in the water that was before everybody at the time. So, and progressive music is just like forward, going back to the idea of like just pushing everything forward, sonically forward. So, yeah, so that's the inspiration behind those things.
Man, okay.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing wild. Yeah, not too crazy. So the production company and stuff, I'm interested in, this is a specific question now, if you're still working with labels and stuff like that, when you work with labels, how are they kind of working with you? Is there some sort of deal that you all work out with their artists? Because I know they kind of get territorial about this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like some projects, I'm brought in as a consultant, but in those agreements, I make sure that there's a clause that say, me as a consultant is separate from me as a producer.
Yeah.
Should my services be utilized as a producer, there's a separate fee and separate agreement for that. As a consultant, it's kind of like an A&R consultant. I operate as an executive producer, but I do more admin things, help contact studios, negotiate rates with studios for the artist, book studio sessions, make sure all the credits and stuff turn in, kind of consult on, with the artist, like, what do you think about this song? Right? It's not always producing. So, so different things. If I come in as a producer, now the business is a bit different. It's more like, we like it, we buy it. Yeah. So sometimes, that's with the majors. Okay. Now with indie projects is a little bit different. Most of the time it's kind of like, well, we'll pay. Yeah. And
work it out.
To work it out, to get involved. And the fees are usually a little bit less unless you're working with like the prince of, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so it depends. It's really, you get what you negotiate, and you negotiate the best you can.
Yeah. That's fair, yeah. How much are they let you,
Right. Yeah. So, so for me, it's like, I do consultant work. I do executive production work. I do just a producer-songwriter. You like the song. I recently had a song release on a new artist on Def Jam. I did the track 10 years, what is it, 13? Yeah. Did the track 10 years ago.
Sheesh.
And on my hard drive, I'm in a session with her. We created something new that's on her project as well. But she was like, what else you got on your hard drive? I'm just curious like what old stuff you got. I never throw stuff away.
Yeah.
So, and I've organized my drive like, I think the furthest back I got now is like 2010 on my main drive. Man. So I was like, all right, cool. 2014.
Yeah, what year you want?
Yeah. I played it. She was like, man, I love this. I'm like, 2014.
It's too easy, yeah.
Right. So she was like, nah, I really love it. So it ended up being her single, brand new artist. So she's just kind of breaking the surface. But so in that case, it was just like track already made. Yeah. And they loved it. They bought it, and it's out.
Man.
And
sweet deal. Really, you did the work, but really didn't have to do too much work.
Right. And then sometimes you go in and you create from the ground up. I collaborate with different producers, and that's a different business too. Whereas collaboration, and you kind of the Snoh Aalegra song I did. Me and this guy Sensei Bueno did this. This is an interesting story. Yeah, actually, I got to tell this story.
Please do.
So this track started out as an idea for her. Like back in 2017, 18, for another project. She really liked the idea, but it didn't really connect what she's doing at the time. So it's like, all right, cool, whatever. So I sent it to Kehlani, and Kehlani wrote to it, and she sent it to me. I'm like, this is really cool. Can you change the melody here because it's not really hitting the interval that we're playing.
Yeah, it doesn't fit right. Yeah.
Don't really fit right to me. So I had somebody else re-demo her song, sing the right thing, and send it back to her. I don't know if she didn't like that or not. It's
Yeah.
okay. But I didn't hear anything back from her for a while, for like a year. It's supposed to have been on her project. I forget the name of it, where she's kind of looking over the fence.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
But she ended up not using it. So like a year later, she hit me, or her team hit me and was like, oh, we're thinking about putting this on a deluxe. Now the same day, Sensei Bueno was in LA and he played the idea for Snoh.
Oh, man.
So he hit me the same day. Kehlani team hit me the same day.
You gotta make a choice now.
Right. So I was like, he was like, man, what do you want to do? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
like, what do you want to do? He's like, whatever. So I'm like, well, let's see, out of respect, let's see what Kehlani and them trying to do. So it's like, well, we're thinking about putting on a deluxe album, and we're thinking about a lot of thinking going on, right?
And have some belief in here.
Right.
Yeah.
So Snoh was like, well, and we were very, very transparent. And I think that's very important. Very transparent through this whole, it wasn't like not telling each side what was happening, right? So went to Snoh and was like, listen, they really want this record. Like, and she was like, listen, we'll make a deal tonight for the record. I was like, think and do? That's two different things.
You
to
have my
me.
attention, yeah.
Right. So, like, true enough, I was like, well, email our team and CC me on whatever. So, No ID, her manager, because she signed a No ID, No ID, her manager, whatever, was all in email. I was like, Snoh really want this song. What would it take? So we gave him a number and whatever, and like literally, the reply was done.
Man.
So I was like, okay, now I got to hit.
Tell the truth. It didn't work out.
Didn't really work out. I was like, but we'll remake something to your song.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, try it. But she ended up not really using it. But we got a Grammy nomination from the Snoh thing, so it worked out.
Yeah, so you made the right choice.
Yeah, I made the right choice.
Absolutely.
So another long answer to the answer to the
Yeah,
answer.
you did it. You answered it, and it was a good story. Before I'm moving to Q&A here in a second, but I just want to commend you on your ability to, you seem to segment entrepreneurship, business, and music and creativity super well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You have to be quite honest with you. I think that's the thing, especially now in the climate of the industry, you have to have an entrepreneur mentality. Yeah. Because it's more than just about making great music. And sometimes, people make okay music and are really successful. Yeah. It's really about having that entrepreneurial mindset and thinking of how many verticals and streams you can create from yourself from what you love to do. And I know a lot of artists like, business, I don't want to sell out. But I want to be able to support what I love to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I can have a passion project that may not make any money, but it's what I love to do.
It's what I would love to do.
Yeah, so for me, it's that balance of entrepreneurship and art. Yeah. And, I got kids in the family.
They got to eat, okay?
Yeah.
They hungry every day.
Right.
So
Wow, man. The twins are 6 now. Every day after school is snack time. So
tearing up the fridge, man.
Right. It's like, what check I got coming today? But yeah, man. So it's really understanding the different avenues, whether it's television and film, whether it's on the record side, whether it's on the executive side, whether it's in the building. Yeah. Just really understanding different opportunities. I know writers and producers who are executives now or who are A&R people, and they still feel fulfilled in what they're doing, even if they're not writing the records, but they help putting the records together. Yeah. So it's really just educating yourself on, okay, what are the different avenues, that can branch out from it.
Get myself into.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And my question for you, Zach, what's been the source of your inspiration and stuff these last years?
The source of my what?
Yeah, inspiration these last years.
Oh, man. Now I've shifted to legacy-driven things, right? I have kids now. Yeah. So my inspiration is slightly different. It's leaving something for them, tangible and untangible. Yeah. So, everything I get involved with is about building something, for them, whether it's at the university, NYU, the courses, the course that I created at NYU that's part of the curriculum now, African American music, its origins and influence, on pop music, it's something that I want them to look back on and say, you know, Dad was part of that, right? So I'm getting a little bit older now, so my focuses are a little bit different, you know. It's not, I mean, yeah, I'll take 10 more Grammys, line them up, you know, a few more Emmys, a few more hit records. You know, there are still goals that as an individual I want to achieve. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, honestly. But I think the forefront is really legacy. It's really about leaving something for them and sharing with them, you know, and just creating that environment of them knowing that they can accomplish whatever their individual goals are, you know, and kind of just looking back over my trajectory and my life and saying, all right, cool, like I have the tools and access to things to kind of further what I'm trying to do. So that's the real inspiration, you know, about everything. When I don't feel like getting up, it's like, all right, cool, I got to get up
and get to work.
Make it happen. So,
Man, that's great, man. Well, David, thanks so much for coming in, man.
Thank you.
Once again, congrats on all the accolades, Grammy, Emmy as well.
Thank you.
And I know there's many more to come, so we're looking forward to it as well.
Absolutely.
Where can the people follow you if they want to, you know, tune into what you got going on in life?
Absolutely. If Swagg did it, that's my Instagram. If you want to email me, if Swagg did it at Gmail. Excuse me, but I don't use Twitter really anymore, but my threads and Instagram is if Swagg did it. Swagg with 2 G's.
Nice.
And you can follow my crazy life whenever I post stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's entertaining sometimes.
It is. The graduation photos was funny the other day. Yeah.
I deleted them. I hit them.
Man, well, David, thanks so much again, man. We hope to have you back here again soon.
Yeah.
And we wish you all the best, man.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.